Mania, and you're watching Googly Goals with me, Shramana Acharjee, your host for the evening, and Ranabir Bhattacharyya, our FIFA expert, and we are discussing on today's match preview Croatia versus Denmark in Nizhny Novgorod Stadium at 11:30 p.m. On one hand, there's Croatia, and on the other, Denmark. What do you think should be the style of play today?
Well, both the teams have qualified for these round of 16 in contrasting ways. On one hand, we saw Croatia, a team which has probably played the best football we have seen after 1998, when they were playing with Davor Suker and other players and reached the quarterfinals. And this time around, they have played pretty well, and in a group where they had players of the caliber teams like Argentina, Iceland, Nigeria. The Croatian team not only scored 7 goals, but they won all the matches quite emphatically. And that's what makes them to be, in my opinion, a dark horse for this year's World Cup. And on the other hand, if you see the Denmark team, well, they haven't been rather pretty imposing team altogether. Rather, what I mean to say is that their performances have been lackluster. Yes, they have. Rather, they have managed to come to the knockout. In the very last match, when they had 0-0 draw with the French team, it was a pretty bad match, and probably the French coach Didier Deschamps wasn't at all interested in having the first team players. So it was a target match, and if you consider the other 2 matches, especially the one against Peru and Australia itself, against Peru the team was pretty lucky enough to get the goal. It was a fantastic goal, free kick. And in the match against Australia itself, yes, they ended up having a draw altogether, but I didn't find this specific Danish Dynamite team to be very convincing. But you know, when you're coming and playing into the World Cup after so many years altogether, you basically back up your players itself, and they've got pretty young bunch of players, and you can definitely expect them to play well. And they've got good players, and I have a personal favorite, Christian Eriksen. Christian, who plays for, not Eriksen, he plays for the Chelsea team, is a defender, central midfield role. So they have good players altogether, the Danish team. But I don't know whether it would be said, but definitely Croatia, as far as the current form is concerned, is much better than their counterpart in today's match.
You know, as we all know, Luka Modric is considered one of the star players of Croatia. Do you think the Croatian team is going to depend mainly on Luka Modric for today's match?
Well, I have seen him playing pretty well for Real Madrid, and not only for 1 or 2 seasons. He has been exceptional for so many goals, but there's a difference what Luka Modric plays his role in case of Real Madrid and what he's doing for Croatia. When he's playing for Real Madrid, he is basically the playmaker. He's the one who is behind so many records of the BBC, that is Benzema, Bale and Ronaldo. And he is one of those players, along with Toni Kroos, who rules the midfield for Real Madrid. And I guess the Real Madrid supporters will also echo the same view. But when this player, this majestic player, plays for his national team, his role changes a lot. He becomes the main goal scorer. And this transformation is not at all easy, because when you're playing in a club level, and that too in a club which is as big as Real Madrid, that too in La Liga itself, where it's a pretty closely contested one between teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid itself. So there, Luka Modric is a pretty important player, but when he's playing in this Croatian team, I was going through interviews of few players from the Croatian team like Rakitic and others. They were saying that we are lucky to play along with Luka Modric. That actually tells what sort of influence Luka Modric has on his compatriots who are playing on the national jersey. In today's match, the Croatian team will definitely look upon Luka Modric. He is going to be the game changer for them. And well, it is very difficult to mark him. It is rather easy to mark someone like Messi or Ronaldo, because these players are goal getters. These players are always aside with the penalty box itself. But the way Luka Modric plays, it's difficult to mark him because he plays behind. So it's when you are a defender for the opponent team, I think that the Danish team will be facing today, where even if they try to mark this player, they'll be in such sort of utter disarray, because the way he plays, the way he moves ups and down, and the way he goes to the flank itself, it is virtually impossible to mark a player of the caliber of Luka Modric. And that's why I think he is definitely going to be the main force for the Croatian team.
Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after short break. Stay tuned to Googly Goals.
जिक्र जब भी जीएसटी की होती है तो नजरें ढूंढती हैं जीएसटी दोस्त विकास धनानिया को।
नमस्कार विकास जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आने के लिए।
विकास धनानिया बात करते हैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी के साथ
कि यहाँ पर गुड्स को रिसीव्ड नहीं किया गया है। हाँ, लेकिन तब आपको ये प्रूफ करना पड़ेगा कि भाई हमने तो हैंड रिक्शा से मंगा लिया है।
आम आदमी जीएसटी को जानना चाहता है, लिहाजा सवालों का अंबार है। इन्हीं सवालों को समेटते हैं हमारे होस्ट राकेश। हर ट्यूसडे और फ्राइडे रात 8 बजे होस्ट राकेश और दोस्त विकास धनानिया हो जाते हैं आमने सामने, सिर्फ आपके लिए जियो बांग्ला पर। देखिए जीएसटी की बात दोस्त के साथ जियो बांग्ला पर।
We're back on Googly Goals, only on Googly Mania Live. So coming back on the Croatian team, Luka Modric might be one of its strength. But what do you think should be its weakness? The team's weakness for today's match?
Well, it's true that they have scored so many goals, 7 goals in particular in the group league matches. But if you look closely, they haven't faced a tough competition. Yes, they definitely will say that they faced Argentina and they scored 3 goals and they defeated Nigeria as well, Iceland as well. But believe me, these 3 teams weren't at all well prepared. And interestingly, another aspect that none of these teams, they have had pretty good defense. But as far as Denmark is concerned, it's going to be difficult for Croatia to get in, because they are not that sort of teams which you expect going right up front or going with 3 forwards or something. So the style of play which these players, Rakitic, Perisic and all these playmakers do, it's not going to be one-way traffic for Croatia. And we are yet to see what happens when Croatia is a goal behind or something. Because we know that in the sort of these tense football matches, in group league matches, you know that even if you are drawing a match itself or losing a match, you have the chances to go to the next round. We can win the next one with good margin itself. But these are knockout match. These are matches where the fate of the match can be decided on the 91th minute or the 118th minute altogether. So these matches call for tenacity, perseverance, and side by side, I won't forget to say that, the fate can be defined with tiebreakers also. So you have to be prepared for all sorts of situations. Now, whether this current bunch of players from Croatia have got that sort of acumen or not, that is a tough question. Yes, they have got pretty world-class players, 3-4 players, but other players who are not well acquainted, who doesn't play in the top European clubs itself, whether they'll perform in that manner or not, well, that is something I'll be pretty keen to see. I'm not underestimating them know-how, because I'm saying that, yes, if you want to call any team as dark horse for this year's World Cup, Croatia is definitely that sort of team. But that doesn't imply that Denmark doesn't stand a chance today, because they have also shown in moments of brilliance that even they have got good players. And when you have players like Christian Eriksen, who plays for Tottenham Hotspur and he scores goals pretty often, then definitely you have to give Denmark chances for today's match.
Okay, coming to Denmark, which players do you think are going to be pivotal for Denmark today for today's match?
Yeah, I think that 2 players are going to be very important. One is definitely Christian Eriksen. He plays for Tottenham. And if you follow the EPL, the English Premier League itself, you must have seen that in spite of the fact that Tottenham Hotspur hasn't won EPL in the last 4, 5, 6 years, but they have been pretty consistent, coming into the top 5 pretty often, and they have played well in the Champions League also. But if you look at the goal scoring ones, you won't be finding Christian Eriksen's name. You'll find names like Harry Kane, Dele Alli, who are in red hot form as far as England is concerned in this World Cup. But Christian Eriksen's role definitely changes, like Luka Modric when he plays for the national team. Here he not only plays the role of a playmaker, rather as a person who also score goals. So this is something, that's why I believe his experience, the youthfulness he brings in the attack for the Denmark team, the Danish Dynamite, is going to be very important. And Andreas Christensen, I love his style of play. I have seen him playing with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now see playing for Chelsea. Now he is that sort of player, a tall player, a gutsy defender. He gives that sort of confidence in the team, which is pretty keen. And when you know these sort of tense moments, when you are reaching, suppose you are only 1 goal ahead in the match itself, you have 10 minutes to play, then you can certainly depend on players like Christensen. And we have seen how he plays in big matches, playing against players of the caliber of Ronaldo or Messi. So I think these two players are going to be very important. But one thing I want to put in here, that scoring goals, this is one aspect where I think the Denmark team need to look upon pretty closely, because in the group league they haven't been pretty impressive. And if you've seen the matches itself, in fact I feel they're pretty lucky to get in the knockout round, because Peru played pretty well and even Australia played pretty well. So, and this team only managed to score 2 goals in the group league. So there I think the Danish Dynamite team, the Denmark team, need to be pretty careful, and they shouldn't be conceding early goal, otherwise it will be very difficult for them. But good thing is that they have got a pretty good goalkeeper. I'm a big fan of Kasper Schmeichel. He's the son of Peter Schmeichel, a legendary goalkeeper who also used to play for the Denmark team and legendary goalkeeper of Manchester United as well. And I have seen him in the group league matches that he has given enough confidence from the back for the Denmark team. And he is also going to be very important. If this match goes to a tie break, I think, well, you never know, he can be the hero for this match.
Considering the two teams of Croatia and Denmark in the group, what do you think should be the approach of the two teams for today's match?
See, comparing the strengths itself, I would think that Croatia would go for all-round attack, because they have got young stars, and these players, as far as offensive display is concerned, they are pretty good. And so I think, in all probability, I won't be surprised that if Croatia scores a goal in the first 10 minutes, because they have that sort of firepower in the team. As far as Denmark is concerned, I feel they are going to mostly rely on counter-attack. Probably that gives them the best chance for this match. And otherwise, it's going to be a little tough for them to get in through the Croatian defense.
Okay, and according to you, what could be the predicted scoreline of today's match, Croatia versus Denmark?
Well, a 1-0 victory for Croatia can be a pretty satisfying one for the Croatian team. And well, if you tell me that whether Denmark can win this match and whether at all we can term this as an upset, well, currently it seems to be improbable, but I would love to see the Denmark team coming up with solid display, because after all they are playing in the World Cup after so many years. So they need to, even if they are losing today, they need to give a pretty good goodbye, and they need to play well, especially against the team which is in red hot form and playing well, and they have shown that they have the firepower to have performed scintillatingly in a big audience in World Cup.
Thanks for joining us, Ranabir. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Googly Goals. Stay tuned for more FIFA previews only on Googly Mania. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram channels. Go watch the match. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.